Yeah, it must be.
In the dark, I play my dreams. Permaculture flows like sweet streams. I'm the daddy with the know-how seed. Creating the world like it's meant to be. Permaculture, P-I-M-P, I'm the king. That's it up in everything. Bring a change, making it last. Join the permaculture.
Welcome to episode 355 of the Permaculture Pimpcast, where PIMP stands for permaculture is my passion. The only Pimpcast on planet Earth where we discuss permaculture, preparedness, practical living, and sometimes prostitutes.
Permaculture, P-I-M-P, with soulful rays in the Pimpcast, where we find
Oh yeah, good to be here with y'all today. Yeah, episode 355. Man, it's been that many already. I want to give a hat tip, as always, to Renewed Homestead for handling the chat. As always, you know the deal. Don't start no SH and there won't be no IT. How you doing, son?
Pretty good, Dad. How are you?
I'm good, man. Just going at 100 miles an hour like we always do. And folks, if I'm tripping it a little bit tonight, it's because I'm all hopped up on this chocolate cake I just ate. In addition to some highfalutin chocolate in there, Michelle throws I think a bunch of coffee in there as well. Yeah. So, yeah, I really shouldn't have any kind of caffeine after 2 p.m. Some would argue that I should never have it, but that stuff it's like sitting there. This is my second piece I've had today, so I've got to get rid of this doggone cake. I've had it since my birthday on the 30th. And I've been kind of whittling away at it, and your mom ain't helping out none, so it's not like I got any help eating this thing right now. But I just refuse to freeze it and come back and hit it later. Well, folks, this episode, as always, brought to you by Hickory Ridge Soap from TwoOldCrowsHomestead.com.
Turn that sip into a pimp.
Bam! Yeah, Soil Saviors dropped off some of that the other day at Renewed Homestead, so I'm sure they'll be giving it a shot, giving it the old college try. It's one of those things that we've been using, and I got to do an update on the place that we remediated here in Western North Carolina alongside the river. Stopped there, man, I guess it's been about a month ago, and everything was all grown up. So I'll have to get back over there and see if they've done any improvement in terms of taking it down. So I'll get over there and check it out. Anyway, if you want some, it'll be listed in the show notes down below. Well, a whole lot going on in here. I'm not sure how much of this we can actually get into, but maybe we will. And by the way, folks, Denise says, Ben will help you out. Sorry, Denise, I'm down to like one piece. So Ben's going to have to wait till next year. And since Ben kind of has a birthday about the same time, maybe we might want to join forces on the next one. Maybe I don't have to eat all this at once. So we'll get around to it. Yeah, so Ben is like 11 months older. No, he's about a year older than me. Exactly. So yeah, getting long in the tooth, but I feel like $1 million right now, thanks to a whole lot of protocols that I'm using right now. Maybe we'll talk about that at a later date. Anyway, whole lot of crazy stuff going on right now. I'll just jump right into the farm news. Weed eating in between the raindrops. So, folks, I don't know if I live in Western North Carolina or Seattle, because I've never seen rain every single day around here. And that's what is happening. None of it is forecasted. And every single day they're dropping that crap from the sky. And then next thing you know, we get storms or something weird, some anomaly. I have a hard time believing that it's this hard for them to predict the weather. But anyway, that's why I'm wearing this shirt. You know the deal. Fill in the blanks. Every single time I look up there and I see what's going on, it just aggravates the living daylights out of me. And by the way, if people are wondering why we're not on the permaculture,
Permapastures Farm.
Pastures Farm channel. Sorry about that. Look, we can't be on there because I can get on there and sing Mary Had a Little Lamb on this podcast, and it is sure as gravity. Every single time we do a podcast, even if we don't talk about anything political, we will, without question, not only they'll unsubscribe like 30 to 50 people, but there's a high likelihood of getting a strike. So I can't even do it over there anymore, even though William has had no strikes, none on the Pimpcast channel. So they're definitely gunning for us, and I'm not going to make it easy for them. So I'll say some other things over there, but not just yet. And sorry, I haven't produced a video in a while. Just, hey, I got to be a farmer first, folks. That's exactly what's going on right now. I'm just up to my eyeballs and just trying to keep up. So how's things on your end, son?
Yeah, crazy. That's for sure. Yeah, it's just a heads up, y'all. When you're burning cursed items, take cover. That. I'm just gonna leave it there. It's
Okay,
just a
well-
general warning.
Well, you know what? I wasn't planning on getting into it, but we'll just go ahead and talk about it. And well, let me back up a little.
I don't want to get too deep into names
we
or
won't
anything
go-
like that.
We won't talk about specifics or anything.
Yeah.
But folks, we've talked about it before on our YouTube channel where we were being constantly bombarded, Michelle and I, with a gang of witches. And come to find out that you can hire a whole gang of them in Nashville for about $500. Well, we ended up getting a little bit of training and finding out, exactly what we need to do in terms of spiritual warfare, and all that came to an end. And from time to time, you'll see little avenues of them trying to get back in. And we've been seeing some of them as of late. Now we stay prayed up from the feet up, folks. I mean, we are asking the Lord to put his heavenly host around every portal, every dimension that leads to us or in our family. And also, that he surrounds us, this house, everything with his warring angels. And there was a time the other night where the dog was going absolutely nuts, son. I don't even think I told you this. You can ask your mom. We were praying at night, as we do every night. And the moment I prayed that the Lord surround us with his warring angels, the dog stopped. I mean, he had that. People that have animals, if you have dogs, the temperament of your dog in that bark. It could be a woof, 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 like I'm just being a dog, or it could be, when it's a little more aggressive. And then there's also another type of bark where the dog is almost sensing some kind of fear or whatever. Because just like Balaam's donkey, I mean, I really believe these animals can see in the dimension that we can't. So we were literally praying, and as I prayed, bam, just like that. I mean, stopped, didn't do it again. And it all came to a sudden halt. So yeah, we're having to constantly deal with these things, which tells me that we're over the, everybody that tells me that when we were dealing with people to help train us in spiritual warfare, they were like, well, it means you're doing a lot of good work. Well, it sucks when you're in the middle of it, when these people are doing all kinds of crazy things to try and upend your life. It doesn't feel so wonderful when you're in the middle of it, but it just kind of refueled my purpose in memorizing the entire book of Psalms. So yeah, so Psalm 91, folks, if you don't know it by heart, maybe try to do it every night, because folks, I'm telling you this, I am absolutely convinced that this world that we can't see is every bit as real as the one that we do. In fact, probably even more so. Well, son, on your end, you were dealing with something without going into too many specifics. I know you can't do that, but you're also dealing with something on your end.
Yeah. So I had some stuff out at the property that were, well, at first I was questioning whether or not they were cursed objects. And then I put them in the burn barrels and lit them on fire. And nothing in those burn barrels should have blown up. Like, there was nothing within those burn barrels that was explosive. It was all just like metal, wood, plastic, paper, stuff like that. That's what was in the burn barrels. Nothing that would build pressure and then blow up. No closed bottles or anything like that. And I'm in the storage unit, or the storage container, as that stuff is burning, and I'm flipping through some other stuff that I'm trying to decide whether or not to burn. And I'm on the phone with a friend of mine, and then bam, like a pretty decent size explosion. And the burn barrels are not far from the storage container. And it was such a big explosion that it overrode the noise canceling features on your iPhone. My friend heard it. I was like, did you hear that? And he's like, yeah. And then as I'm explaining to him what is happening, there are things that are still falling. Like, it was such a big explosion that things were still falling from the sky, hitting the top of the storage container as I'm explaining what was in there. Y'all, I didn't overlook anything. There absolutely wasn't anything in there that should have blown up. Like, it was one of those things where I have to look through every little thing that I'm putting in this burn barrel because of the nature of what it is. Like, I know exactly what was in this burn barrel, and none of those things should have blown up, and it did. And like, had I not been in the storage container, had I been putting anything in the barrel, I would have had burns and probably some like impact wounds as well. Like, it was that big of an explosion. So yeah, just a word of caution for anybody there. Like, oh, and then also, like, because I'm pissed off at this point. Bill Warner says every step we take towards the good opposition takes 2 steps to defeat it.
Amen to that.
Yeah. So because I'm pissed off at this point, so I grab my AR and I start shooting at the barrels from a distance, and the bullets should not affect a fire, but the fire got hotter. The fire got hotter and the flames got bigger in those barrels. Like, it was the weirdest thing. I ended up dumping like 90 rounds into one of them, and then used the Glock magazines I had, because it was like part of me was like, couldn't believe that it's like reacting to me shooting it. And yeah,
and a result
bizarre.
And the result of you even having those items was trying to do something good for a person. And honestly, there were some other fortuitous things that just kind of jumped in our lap too, where there's some people that have tried to.
Hey, Dad, just
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say anything specific. I'm talking about another topic altogether. But there are other people that have tried to insert themselves into my life. Some people that I've long suspected of being into things that they probably ought not to be. Some people that at first glance seem like, oh man, they seem all right. And then when you look at, like Jesus said, you will know them by their fruits. And as you find out what's under their fingernails and you see what they make painfully obvious to you, but at the same time, your human side is saying, yeah, maybe I'm just looking too much into this. Folks, if you're getting that unction from the Holy Spirit to tell you, hey, maybe stay clear from this person, and it could be a man, it could be a woman. And I'll put it this way. We're dealing with something, and then all of a sudden there's one person, actually there's been several people, that out of the blue said, hey, can we come on over to your place? Folks, I mean, I know you've seen it in Hollywood and like Lost Boys, where if you invite a vampire in, well, there's a lot of truth to stuff like that. That if you could let the wrong person into your midst and you let them over, there ain't no telling what they could wind up doing. So this is why I pray. I mean, this is why I pray that the Lord, whatever they wish upon us, to a certain extent, I guess you can call it imprecatory prayer, where whatever they wish upon us is turned back on them and those that sent them sevenfold. All of this, a lot of it straight out of the book of Psalms. So I'm not saying, I'm not wishing harm to anybody, but at the end of the day, I'm hoping that they realize the error of their ways, because my God is greater. And, we receive not because we ask not in most cases, but it's not going to be for lack of asking. So you got to stay prayed up from the feet up, especially when you're out here fighting certain battles that the enemy does not want revealed, does not want you to know about. There's a reason why, like I said, on our bigger channel, we can't even broadcast there anymore, even though I'm not saying anything that should be in violation of any of their rules. So we do it here, and hopefully we go beneath the radar. If not, then it's the concept. Like I said, doing the right thing doesn't mean you're going to keep a job. And I can tell you a lot of stories about that sort of thing. So, and like Bill says, here's another thing also to point out. Dogs are an amazing judge of character. Bill, you're dropping some tactical nukes here tonight. You're absolutely right. My brother, if his dog does not like you, you will not step foot across that property. Because there was another, I can give you exact examples of this one guy I knew. His name was Marvin. And we always kind of knew that he was sleazy and wasn't up to any good. I remember him coming to this party, and the guy who was putting on the party, his dog never did this in his life, went right up to this guy that we knew was no good and peed right on his leg. Never did it before, never did it since. And of course, you come to find out that this guy had some serious character flaws.
Teaspoon bit him too, didn't he? Didn't she?
I think so. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, Teaspoon did bite him. As a matter of fact,
Teaspoon wasn't a small dog, by the way. She was like half lab, half something else.
Yeah, so they know. Bill, you're absolutely right. If my dog, he says, my dog says no, I say no. I fully agree with that. So don't overlook. I mean, I know we supposedly have five senses. There are some that would argue that maybe we have more than that. Some, like William, are more sensitive to certain spiritual things. William has always been that way ever since he was a child. And there are times where people cloak themselves and pretend to be something they aren't. So you got to make sure. I mean, maybe we should have called this show Defense Against the Dark Arts, because there are so many people out there, especially where we live in such close proximity to Asheville. Remember, Asheville is like the witch capital of America. And I've made a lot of enemies out there. That's why I just don't let anybody come to my house. And I know that the Lord is watching over us. So, I mean, we're going to stay prayed up. But I'm telling a lot of you folks out there, because there may be some incubus and succubus in a lot of the people running around you right now. And almost certainly they are. There's a reason why the Japanese don't shake hands, or a lot of people in Asian cultures, they don't shake hands, because they believe that any kind of physical contact with, let's say, a worse person, that it jumps off onto you to a certain extent. And I can give you an example of another one. Since we're already going down this road, I mean, I'm just kind of ditch the notes here for a minute and just tell you about this.
Hey, real quick, Dad. Let me address this one about the barrels. Amy B was saying, with introducing that many holes in the barrel, I'm thinking on my biochar burns, did you increase airflow enough to give the fire more fuel in the form of oxygen? It crossed my mind, but I was stacking, like I was still keeping a tight grouping. So they were 5.56, so the diameter of these holes is still pretty doggone small. But I was like still keeping a tight group, so it wasn't like big enough holes, and the barrels already had airflow holes too. They were already dedicated like burn barrels and stuff like that. So I would be surprised that small of a hole would have added that much more oxygen to it, because it was crossing my mind, like, is this a possibility? And then I don't think so.
I don't know, because most burn barrels already got a bunch of holes in there anyway to try to kick the fire up. It's not going to make anything combust. So I don't know. I to a certain extent, I guess I have to dismiss part of that, but I'm sure you were well aware of what was in that barrel. But yeah, the enemy goes around like a roaring lion, seeing whom he may devour. And like, Denise says, Ben calls it ash evil. Yes, it is. It does have its merits in some ways. It's not the same place it was when we first moved here, but there's another thing that happened in Asheville. This goes back to the point I was making a moment ago, where there was a person I knew, people that were ingratiating themselves into our lives. They were even on this show a while back. I'm not going to say who, but it was a while back. I no longer have any association with them. And we were leaving a particular restaurant. We were meeting for, well, I guess that doesn't matter. But anyway, we were leaving. Everybody kind of said hi, bye, whatever the case may be. And the guy's wife hugged me. I took one step away, and folks, I kind of get the, I get the willies just talking about this. I took one step away, and I felt this shock wave going up and down my spine like I just got hit by lightning. Now, I'm a journeyman electrician, and I have been bit by electricity before. That was the only thing I could give you an example of what it felt like. And I felt it, bam, just like that. I jump in my truck, and I'm about to go. Now, I'm in South Asheville at the time, and I got to get home. And I live maybe 45 minutes away from where we were. And I got about a quarter of a mile down the road, and this sense of dread, terror, I don't know how else to describe it, hit me in a way that I don't even know how to describe. It was so bad that the nearest place I could pull over was this gas station. And I sat there wondering, am I having a heart attack right now? And what is going on? I can't even form a thought that made any sense to me. And I'm like, what is happening to me? What is going on right now? And all I could think to do at that time, because I wasn't at all schooled certainly not to the extent that I am right now in dealing with this spiritual warfare. But I sat there for almost 2 hours. Now, Michelle had left earlier. I sat there in this parking lot at this gas station for 2 hours wondering what was happening to me. I'm shaking like a leaf and I don't even know what to do. It was relatively cold outside. And so I take my shoes off and I'm thinking, maybe I just need to get grounded. And I put my feet on the ground. It does absolutely no good. And I'm thinking, okay, do I need to lay my whole body on the ground? And then, okay, I'm thinking if I do, somebody's going to call 911. I was there for 2 hours thinking, okay, should I call Michelle and tell her to come get me? I had no idea what had gone on. I had a suspicion at that point. About 2 hours later, I was able to pull it together enough to be able to get behind that wheel and drive my way home on as many back roads as I could find, because I was like, I don't even trust myself to drive. That's how bad I was. Come to find out, and this was also another little data point that just recently emerged. Come to find out that that person is seriously troubled. I knew it then, and there were other obvious things that I should have seen or I had overlooked. I'll put it that way. So when somebody is showing you who they are, family members or not, or people that mask themselves as friends, believe them. When you suspect right there that somebody's no good, don't even go to the next step, folks. I'm telling you this from experience. Well, anyway, that person, come to find out that she is seriously troubled. Seriously troubled. And I don't know if she put a hex on me. I don't know what she did, but yeah. So it was after that all of a sudden we got some serious guidance in how to combat a lot of this spiritual warfare. And honestly, being right there in the devil's den, so to speak, Asheville, didn't help any. But I literally felt it right after I gave him a hug, took one step, and then here's the crazier part. There I was out in Kansas. Well, before I went out to Kansas to speak at an event out there, and I had a buddy tell me, he's also been on this show, privately told me of the very same thing happening to him. When he described it to me, I was like, I told him what I said, don't say another word. Let me tell you what you felt. I described it back to him and his jaw hit a floor. So folks, there's a whole lot of people right now that are seriously, unbelievably troubled. And many of them may not even know why or how. And if you don't have on that full armor, there ain't no telling what may jump off and get onto you, folks. So I'm just, I really had no intention of this show going this direction. But hey, you better be prayed up from the feet up, because there are some serious people out here that either purposely mean ill, or there's a whole variety of others that don't even know. That's why I said, when COVID happened, it wasn't the end of the world for me. I was like, man, this ain't necessarily a bad thing. Now I can bow to people like I'm Japanese. Maybe I don't have to shake hands, man. I mean, I don't mind shaking hands with certain people, but with people you don't know, I mean, that's the whole reason why they would bow to one another. Dead serious. I mean, it was a Japanese guy that told me that. So, yeah, thought people might find that interesting. What would you like to add to that, son?
Don't suffer a witch to live. It ain't cause it's necessarily like that. The amount of time wasted is insane. It's a constant headache. It's just a waste of time. Yeah, man.
No, I'm not
Don't
saying
suffer a witch to live. Yeah, I mean, obviously we can't go and exacting judgment and stuff like that, but don't pay them any of your attention. Don't give them any attention.
But it's the pernicious, insidious types that will ingratiate themselves into your life, and then next thing you know, they're in your house, and who even knows what they're doing? Because we've had that happen a time or two, and so that's why I'm especially cautious, very, very cautious as to whose company I'm in. And there was a while also where every time I would go to an event and speak. Trust me, folks, I don't get stage fright when I speak in front of large crowds. Okay. That's not me. But there were witches in one particular event in Nashville, and we knew they were witches. They were in the back casting a hex on a brother while I was up there. They disabled me, and it was my own fault because I wasn't prayed up before we walked in there. And it got so bad that I had to have Michelle come on the stage and help me out while I was in here like silently praying, because I'm like, these people have no idea that right now I'm about to lose it up in here. So yeah, these people are all over the place.
I do want to point out, before I went and burned the curse stuff and all that, as soon as I got on the property, I stopped and I prayed and asked for protection, and also protection from my own ignorance, because like I'm just trying to grow food, and I'm trying to show other people how to grow food. That's all I'm trying to freaking do. Like, I ain't out here hunting for cursed objects or anything like that. I ain't looking for dog man. I ain't doing none of that stuff. So I prayed for protection from like what I know is here, and then also my own ignorance in dealing with these things. And yeah, I really think, had I not done that, I would have been putting stuff in the burn barrel as it exploded.
Yeah, the people that were helping us out with this spiritual warfare, they were like, man, I don't know who's after you guys, but good night. This has been a task. Yeah, so Bill's even saying that, yeah, they went to a local farmer's market here in Jackson, Tennessee for the past weekend, and both my wife and I were wiped out for 2 days. Plus, there's also these people that deal with a lot of spiritual oppression, okay? And I think, you ever been around, I'm sure everybody has, you've been around that person. You may work with them. They may be a member. I got a member in my own family. Just being in the room with this guy will wear you out.
Yeah.
And I'm quite sure there is a spiritual component. You get that a lot of times when you're around some of these people. And it just absolutely drains the energy right out of you. I just can't be around those people. And I won't be around those people. But yeah, there's a lot of them running around this place. So stay prayed up, folks. I mean that. So we'll move on to some other things. Let's see here. All right. So I spent a lot of time on that. Okay. So much for the rest of this, what's going on around here. But hey, I don't know of anything more important. So folks, I mean, we pray for y'all every night. We absolutely do. We do. And we hope you pray for us too, because the prayers of a righteous man availeth much. So there's a lot of weird stuff going on in this world, and it's getting even crazier. All right. So let's see here. Redemption Shield, 10% off with promo code PERMA. Yeah, you know me. Every time I'm doing this show, I'm G'd up from the feet up, and I mean grounded. And I am right now. In fact, I've talked about it before, but I put separate ground rods out there that aren't going through the electrical system. I think that is a much better way to install these things. That way there's no induction or anything else. All the dirty electricity going up and down these lines, especially right now, you can't overlook it. So that's just an added benefit that I'm adding into things right now. Wave Watch, Billy 100 will get you $100 off of that thing. Every single time I go to town, every time I leave this property, I got that thing on. Every single time. In fact, I was over Ben and Denise's the other day. They're probably wondering, man, what is he calling in artillery with that big old watch? Because I got the older version of it. It's a bigger one, but they do make a smaller one now. Every time I leave this house, because it goes a long way in helping me. Shoot. I mean, the only thing I need it for 9 times out of 10 is anxiety or dealing with hoople heads. So I think there might actually be a hoople head setting in the 1,000 settings that they have on there, but Billy 100 will get you $100 off. And then not this weekend, but the one after that, I'll be sure to bow to you at the East Tennessee Homestead Alliance Festival. That's going to be September 12th and 13th. That's going to be in Knoxville, Tennessee. So see you out there. Be there, be square. All right. So, son, let's go into some of this good news. Oops, got the wrong thing here. Let's go into some of this good news. Okay, there's a whole lot going on in the world right now. And if you go to my X account, I am highly critical of a lot of it. In fact, I took a picture of myself with this shirt today. And if you go to X at Permapastures Farm, you're going to find out what it was. So here's the next. Big Pharma's worst nightmare. FDA now exposes drug harms in real time. So check this out. The FDA will now publish daily drug injury reports after years of deliberate delays, y'all. I mean, this is exactly what's going on. So I've been highly critical of pretty much everybody in this administration. The only one that's, I mean, I don't know that I've not thrown. I don't know that I've not been critical of anybody except maybe Tulsi Gabbard. She's been the only one I don't think I've come down like a ton of bricks on yet. Hopefully she doesn't give me a reason. Well, actually, she did give me one, and but all the other ones, man, I'm just absolutely highly critical, and we should be. We should be. This is Thomas Jefferson 101. I don't care if it was George Washington in there. We should be asking critical questions of the people that are running things. And, we, what does the Bible say? The people mourn when the wicked bear rule. It's somewhere in Psalms. I can't think of it right now, but, but anyway, Big Pharma's worst nightmare. That's a good thing. Okay. That's a good thing that's unfolding right now. But the idea is to get ourselves completely off of Big Pharma. Here's another one, kind of on the same heels of that. Trump demands transparency from Pfizer and other drug firms on pandemic era treatment data. Now, anybody that's looked at my X account knows that I think Trump is, without a doubt, the biggest fraud in recent time. And folks, don't think I say anything flippantly that I can't defend. If anybody ever wants to debate me, I can give you a long list of reasons on how we've been sold completely out by this guy. And then all of a sudden, lo and behold, son, maybe you might be aware of this. He comes out the other day, drops not a tweet, but a truth or whatever they call it. Anyway, saying that, I'll just paraphrase for those that don't know or that have been busy or, through the holiday or whatever the case may be. Basically saying, hey, man, they're telling me about all these Pfizer and all the rest of them are telling me about all this wonderful stuff, but I'm not seeing any evidence. And now all of the people that are pro-Trump or whatever, they're like cheering like, yeah, I'm like, hold on a minute. Hold on. Either you're ignorant or incompetent. Which one is which? Because how is it me as a farmer in small town North Carolina knew that this thing and has known that this thing was a manufactured lie from the word go, but somehow the president of the United States gets a mulligan? Son, you ever find it a little bit curious that every time things go well, Trump takes all the credit, but every time it's not so well, everybody in his sphere, and I've noticed this pattern because I'm pretty good at noticing patterns. Every time something goes sideways, it's not Trump doing it, but everybody around him will make excuses as to why he's not culpable. Every single time. They'll say, well, his advisors kept this away from him. Okay, then that makes you incompetent. So,
and we know that's a lie. We know that's a lie. We know people who have spoken to him to him directly. We know people that have told him directly the dangers of this jab. And every single time his reaction has been the same of like, I don't want to hear it. And even the people around him have responded with like, I can't bring it up to Trump. Like he doesn't want to hear it. Like he's known for a long time. We knew that in the midst of it. I'm trying to think of dates, but we knew that in the midst of it. Like it's a bunch of garbage.
Yeah. I mean, Kim's saying, boy, she's blowing it up in the chat. Boy, and I totally agree with you. And then right here, Kim, I mean, she put another one here. We all yuckas now, nation. And yeah, I mean, that's exactly, there's no distinction, folks. This is why I'm saying everybody from all color spectrums should come together because look, they don't care whether you're white, black, brown, orange, purple, whatever. They're dropping this crap over all of us. That's why I say, and that's why I wear this shirt, no, I'm not going to ask for forgiveness. I'm going to tell you like it is. We all niggas now, okay? I don't care what you are. Like I said, white people, you got a different name for them, but they're niggas. I don't care what you say. That's exactly, if you're not elite, that's exactly what they think you are. So, yeah, I guess I could put a funny spin on it, but that's exactly what they think you are. So I'm not buying this garbage up one side and down the other. Every single time it goes well, oh, yeah, he's a genius. Things are wonderful. Every time it's not, well, we blame his advisors. Every single time. Every single time. What would your life be like? and I'm talking to everybody out there, if you were to get a mulligan, every time things went poorly, you got to say, well, I didn't know any better. Look, I didn't just step out of the cotton fields. I know better. We had one of the most, I can't even say his name on this show. I'll just say it, man. Forget it. Dr. Brian Ardis on here. Go back, watch that video where they dropped exactly how to, Brian Ardis himself got the word to Trump, and he told him to be quiet about it. Okay? Go back and watch that interview. In fact, I mean, Brian Ardis knocked the boots off that program. So anyway, go back and watch that. So for that slime bag, and that's exactly the way I see him right now, because there's a whole lot of dead people out there that don't have to be and didn't have to be. Gets all the credit for it. Gets all the credit when things are going great. But and then I love the response of all the people out there who are these sycophants for Trump. The first thing they want to call you, and if you know me at all, if you listen to this program, they want to call you, son, what do you think they call me?
Uncle Tom.
Well, that would be a compliment, but no, they call me a, no, given my background, you better call me an Uncle Tomahawk. So, yeah, anyway, no, they call me a bleeding heart liberal. And I'm like, okay, well, apparently you haven't listened to anything I talk about, because I crap on, okay, Biden as much as I did Trump. I see them as all scumbags. And I think everybody else should as well, because the truth is they are. These people are slime balls up one side and down the other. I guess I shouldn't belabor that too much. But anyway, folks, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. All right. So the third one, I guess that was supposed to be good news, but yeah, I guess it was good news. I guess the good news is, and here's another one from Chris Wright. Why isn't Fauci under the jail? Thank you very much. And didn't Trump give him a Medal of Freedom? Correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody fact check me on that one. But I'm pretty sure he got some highfalutin medal out there. You know, the highest civilian honor you can give to somebody. And I'm pretty sure Fauci got it. I hope I'm not conflating that with someone else, but I'm pretty sure he did. So, yeah, this guy makes Joseph Mengele. The reason why they're not going to do anything to Fauci, because he was working at the behest of the government. And believe me, there's a whole lot of evidence out there that shows it. And it started under Bush Cheney. That's why he was the most highly paid person, even more than the president, in the government. Dr. Jack Cruz has probably written the definitive work on that very thing. I suggest everybody go check it out. So yeah, the fact that Mengele 2.0, Mengele is not even in the ballpark. Folks, I'm just going to say this, and I'm going to leave it right here. It is provable. Conservative numbers right now, and this is another one that came from Dr. Jack Cruz and a number of others out there who are reliable. Steve Kirsch, I believe, was the one that originally reported it. Okay, in the Civil War, we lost more people in the Civil War alone than all other wars combined. And if I'm not mistaken, somebody would have to fact check me again. I want to say it was like 670 some thousand, somewhere thereabout. Okay. Add them all up. It comes to about 1.5 million Americans that have died in all the wars since we've been a country. And if you can compare that to other countries, I mean, that's really just a drop in the bucket. I mean, I guess it means it's not if you were one of those casualties. And then, of course, we don't even count all the other ones that died of Agent Orange after Vietnam. You get my point. Okay, so we got 1.5 million that have died in American warfares. As of the count of about a month ago, 1.7, Dr. Peter McCullough actually dropped this news. So, yeah, he's even more well-known. 1.75 million are dead, graveyard dead, as a result of this vaccine. And you can't even call it a vaccine because of that jab. And how many more have perished since? How many more are on their way? And how many of them have no idea what to do about it? Yeah. So that was your Operation Warp Speed or War on Seed, depending on how you want to look at that. So I'll leave that alone right there. Final good news story. Landmark study reveals ultra-processed foods drive weight gain and harm male fertility in weeks. The reason I wanted to cover this is because I just talked about eating all that cake. Okay. Well, it's kind of funny how during the rest of the day my diet is impeccable until I get around that chocolate cake, and then it's off the rails. Well, if you go on a bender, and they were doing fertility checks, if you're a guy and you go out there and you decide, okay, man, I'm just going to lose it for a week or two. What this does in your fertility, because it's not the junk food when not back in the 80s, okay? All of us kids ate Doritos. We ate all the junk food out there, and there wasn't a whole lot of harm. But that's not the same. You take a bag of Doritos from the 80s and compare it to the bag of Doritos that we have right now, very different product. And the level of toxins in these things is on another level. So basically, in a nutshell, look, for all you guys out there, you're wondering why your million men ain't marching. It could be that you've been eating too many ultra processed foods. So, yeah, son, I hope you take that to heart, man.
Oh yeah, I'm back on the carnivore diet. I'm eating nothing but meat. That's it.
Well, I don't blame you one bit. So, well, that's our good news so far in this section. All right. With that said, y'all, we're going to go to my man, Eric Sider.
Hey, Eric Sider here with your Pimpcast tip of the day. Today's tip: we lose the soil, we lose everything. To quote Jeff Lawton, all we've got with industrial agriculture is convenient exploitation of the earth for money. We really need to stop calling it agriculture, which is supposed to mean the enrichment of soil, not waging a war on soil life. In addition to the herbicide, fungicide, and pesticide, or the biocide cocktail being dumped on the planet, all chemical fertilizers kill soil life. They are all salt-based. There is a fundamental misunderstanding of how plants feed. They can't take in nutrients and minerals directly. They must make a deal with the soil organisms and exchange sugars for nutrients. Chemical fertilizers only work because they are water soluble, so they are forcing the plants to drink. It's like force feeding a person McDonald's. There are many parallels between the food and medical industries. The life in the soil is just like the life in our bodies, and we are destroying both every single day. We are not a healthy society. Most people are either obese or look like walking corpses. This is directly related to the food we eat. Mass-produced industrial garbage with zero nutrition. Not only do we not need industrial agriculture to feed ourselves, but if we don't start feeding ourselves without destroying the soil, we're all just going to become worm food anyway. The only thing industrial agriculture is efficient at is laying waste to the planet. You can find me on YouTube and Instagram at Eric Sider. If you're in need of permaculture t-shirts, the official pimp gear of the Pimpcast, or remote permaculture consultation and design, head over to ericsider.com. And for more information on my permaculture community group, head over to permaculturefairoaks.org.
That's my dog right there. Man, we don't coordinate anything. I mean, Eric just sends in, what he feels like talking about. I had no idea that last article was going to tie right into what he said. And son, I mean, he's absolutely right. I mean, people go out there, we think that putting Miracle-Gro out there is going to do wonderful things for us, but really, what is it doing? I mean, I'm just going to take a little sidetrack here because I think it's important to discuss. I mean, people that think, oh, I'll just go out here, get this Juggo fertilizer or whatever and put it out there. Why is that not a wonderful idea?
It's killing all of the organisms. It's killing all the organisms that fertilize and provide your plants and needs all passively. Like I just came out with a video, was it yesterday, talking about curing compost. And then while I'm moving compost, I'm kind of going on a rant and saying that there is no, inevitably, whenever I come out with a compost video, there's always going to be people in the comments saying, oh, compost is cool, but I do this, or I just add this. And it's like, there is no alternative to compost. There's absolutely no alternative to it. You can go and buy stuff, and yeah, that'll work for a little bit, and you got to keep on doing it. I'm looking for a solution that completely removes me from the fertilization loop of plants. If we go out and look at nature, you see all these trees, all these plants, all this grass growing without any human intervention. But for some reason, we can't think, like, we don't think that applies to our like fruits, vegetables, and stuff like that. It's like we all have to, like, we can remove ourselves from the process completely. And okay, so if you don't have to spend time and money and effort and energy into the fertilization process of a garden or an orchard or a food forest or even a grazing system, if you don't have to worry about that, what does that give you extra time and resources to do? You can expand your garden potentially. You can add more animals to your stocking density. You can add another system to your overall farm if you're not having to spend, especially once you get on a larger scale. Like you might be thinking like, oh, a bag of Miracle Grow or a bag of 30-30-30 or something like that doesn't cost too much and doesn't take too much time to apply. But look at these main, like these big scale ag places, how many thousands they spend on fertilizer every single year, and it's not needed.
No, it isn't. And that's exactly the hamster wheel we got to get off of, folks. I mean, if nothing else, remember when this whole thing jumped off in Ukraine, and because of the what's called the Haber-Bosch process, through what do you call it? The processing of natural gas, they basically take some of the byproducts out of there, and people will use it for nitrogen-based fertilizers. And when all of a sudden the number 2 producer in the world was Ukraine. So all of a sudden, when that happened, right here in Western North Carolina, the people that grow corn, they weren't growing corn because they could not afford it, even though the number 1 producer is Canada. So they're on that hamster wheel so bad that they're losing soil like nobody's business. A lot of folks just harvested corn down the road right now. And it's just a barren, desolate field, which you should never see in nature. You will never see that. So it should always be replaced by something. And like William's saying, and like Eric's also saying, is that we got to get ourselves off that hamster wheel. But if you think, okay, I'll just go out here, get on this Miracle Grow, look, you're going to be on it forever and a day. I don't know about y'all, but I got more time than money. I would rather flip a compost pile where I'm putting, as long as I don't do anything stupid, once you put that compost out there, it should be on autopilot, provided you do the other things that it requires, provided you made it well, provided you did all these other things. So you can, like William's saying, you can eventually pull yourself from the equation. And that brings me into the main topic here. Before we get in there, EMP Shield, $50 off with promo code PERMA. Remember, the number 1 threat to your home, despite an EMP, is a lightning strike. And I almost got struck today, as a matter of fact, when I was out there weed eating. So if your home does get Kentucky Fried and you got an EMP shield on the house and anything should get Kentucky Fried downstream, they're going to cover you for 25 G's. You find me another transient voltage surge suppressor on the market that's even in the ballpark, I'll buy it. But there ain't one. There's nobody that even has a guarantee outside of EMP Shield. So, yeah, get over there. Go get yourself one if you should require one. EMP Shield, you get $50 off with promo code PERMA. So on the heels of what we're just talking about, believe it or not, it is tangentially, related. Do we need a parallel food system? I mean, think about this. The current food system, I know we kind of set things up this way. It really wasn't intended that way, but it's funny how these shows just kind of come together in ways that I didn't necessarily intend. But I'm talking about the political aspect of things. I'm talking about the world events that are unfolding right now. I'm talking about all these different things. And you can't come up to one conclusion if you have 2 neurons left in your brain that the current food system is a house of cards. I mean, just think about it. One storm, one tariff, one recall, and it all falls apart. And when I say it all falls apart, what did I just say about Ukraine? When that jumped off, I saw mild-mannered farmers cussing out the lady at the desk at the local farm store because he was not about to pay 3 times the amount for the same fertilizer that he bought the year prior. So he didn't produce any corn. And here, the kind of corn he was producing was not the stuff that's going to turn into ethanol. He was producing stuff people eat. So he just couldn't afford to do it. And I think if a lot of folks are like me out there, I mean, a lot of us have less money than we ever have, despite what them telling you that, inflation is not that bad. So do we need a parallel food system? I would argue that it's already kind of being built. if you're listening to a lot of what we're talking about here, we're talking about perennial systems that feed you passively. You know, like I'm looking out this window right now. There's so many pears on this tree that's below me right now. It'll make your head spin. I was over at Ben and Denise's at Renewed Homestead the other day. They got peaches at a time of year that I've never seen peaches. It's September, and they got a whole tree full of peaches. Now think about this. Okay, I got varieties of peaches that are producing, depending on the variety. I got early, mid, and late. So May, June, July, and August, I'm able to produce peaches. Well, they're producing them in September. Some of it might have to do with their altitude and a number of other things. But anyway, they got peaches that are producing in September. I don't have that. Wow. May, June, July, August, September. That's 5 months of producing just peaches. You think there might be a trade or a barter system that we could work out there, especially when peaches, or better than organic peaches, because that's what they're producing. They're not putting any junk on them. They're going for over $6 a pound. How many, just on this one peach tree out here, just one tree, I got 600 pounds off of it. Okay, you save yourself a little bit of money there, and you're thinking trading with your neighbors, you might be able to make some deals. These pears, I don't know what pears are going for right now. I'll find out probably tomorrow. I don't know what they're going for, but I got a tree full of them right now. And unlike the garbage in the store where they picked it, let's say for peaches, I can tell you that firsthand. Peaches, every peach you buy on the store was either picked a month or a month and a half ago. It either came from Central America or it came from a part of the country that you're probably not even living in. Okay. Now, first of all, it doesn't have the electromagnetic barcode that Logan from Sowing Prosperity came on here and talked about. More local, the better is what I'm getting at. So it's not even from your locale, but okay, you got peaches out there in the store right now. Okay, that's all well and good. But as I said a moment ago, what happens all of a sudden if Trump decides to put, because honestly, one day we'll have a tariff over here and then it's lifted and then it's over here. We don't even know what's going on. So those peaches that are $6 a pound conceivably could be considerably higher. So, I mean, centralized convenience or decentralized resilience? Son, which one are you going with?
The decentralized version. I was just ranting to Emily the other day about how avocados anymore have a plastic, like a melted plastic aftertaste. They don't even taste like avocados anymore. For some reason, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what they're doing to the avocados and stuff like that. And she just so happened to be listening to Jack Cruz at the time. And she's like, we could grow our own in South America. I was like, yeah, that's totally an option. But with going this decentralized route, you also have to accept that you're going to have to eat things that are more within season and like local to your area. So you're going to have to remove some foods from your diet.
Which is precisely why I don't eat avocados anymore. I mean, I love them, but I gave them up because I'm really trying to put the best foot forward I can on eating as local as possible. Now, clearly there are going to be exceptions. And I'm wondering, I'm going to have to get answers on certain things. Like, for example, coffee. That doesn't grow here. But if you were to remove coffee from America tomorrow, that would create a revolution. Another thing, I'm talking about this chocolate cake I just ate. Okay, you think any cacao is growing here? No, but strawberries do. I mean, I do have choices. I mean, carrot, it could have been a carrot cake. I mean, the point being is that obviously it's going to be the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule, okay, on most things. You want to do the right thing most of the time, if at all possible. And in most cases it can. But that's why I gotten rid of avocados from my diet. I'm like, okay, I produce enough fat right here on this farm that I can get exactly what I need from the stuff that's local to me. So I'm actually trying to do as much as I can, but you're absolutely correct. To do this decentralized route means that you're going to have to come up with some local food solutions. But I was just talking about the moment ago. Okay, just in terms, I'm just talking one crop, y'all, of peaches. If I were to say, okay, Ben and Denise, hey, I can handle your peach needs for these 4 months. And then in September, maybe you hook me up. Do you think that's a worthy deal? And that's just one crop. It could be another situation where, let's say they're producing beef And I'm not right now. Okay, maybe I'll hook you up with A and you hook me up with beef, or it could be any number of ways of going about it. But honestly, these folks, we are quite literally on a knife's edge. This country, there's a reason why I call it, and it's not my intellectual property, but Gore Vidal actually called it the United States of Amnesia. There was a time that all you could ever eat was local. That was all you had available to you. And I'm trying to go backwards in time and do as much of this as I possibly can, because really, this system that we have right now where every single thing comes, it is like Max Egan said, we are all truckatarians. Look around you right now. I don't care where you are. In your home, if you're listening to me on the road, look around you. Every single thing you have came on a truck. Everything. Every single thing you own. Whether it's the food, whether it's this water bottle in front of me, there is not a single thing that didn't come on a truck. Now, what if that's compromised all of a sudden? Centralization equals fragility. If you companies, are putting in any effort, this is why grocery stores have a 3-day supply. That's why when any calamity unfolds, and just ask anybody in Western North Carolina what that was like, they got 3 days worth of food at most before they need a resupply. You got long supply chains, massive vulnerability to disaster. And then, of course, let's not forget the toxic inputs. I think we've talked about a number of those right there. So let's just talk about what a parallel food system looks like. We're going to talk about like local food webs. I've given an example, farmers, ranchers, gardeners. In some way, we're all tangentially linked to one another. One thing that I think that really should happen, and one thing I would love to make happen if I could ever get the bandwidth, I've talked to Ben about this before, is community processing facility. You have all these different things around here. You know, there was a time before Obama where you can go to a cannery and can your own stuff with the Mormons. Say what you want about the Mormons, but nobody has ever seen a Mormon that was not prepared. And they used to have these canneries. You can go in there and work for a day, make your own stuff, and buy it on a discount. We used to go there all the time in the Kansas City area. And because of Obama, that all came to an end. And of course, they never brought it back. There used to be a butcher. When I was working as a butcher at the local pig in Kansas City, there was a guy, old guy in his 80s, believe it or not, was working for the USDA, would come in from time to time, and he would tell us these stories about how every single neighborhood would have at least one butcher shop where you knew who the guy was cutting your meat. And he knew where it came from. He knew the farmers, knew everybody. Well, if we don't get back to that to some extent or another, and then, of course, we got all this bureaucratic nonsense that Joel Salatin's constantly trying to fight. Community processing, canneries, and dairies aren't, we need things that aren't beholden to big ag. But right now, all of it is. So you got to ask yourself, are you going to follow the rules or not follow the rules? Because I will publicly tell everybody, I don't care about your rules. I don't follow unjust laws. So if you tell me it's not cool for me to process this sheep and sell it to Joe Blow down the road, I'll tell you right now publicly on this thing, I don't care. Come get me. I'm not going to be stupid about it, but at the same time, if I got a handshake deal, who's to say, okay, William, let's say you live down the road from me. Let's say we don't know each other. You want one of my sheep. I'm going to sell you my sheep. I'm going to get out of the whole rule thing by giving it to you under plastic. How about that?
It just so happened it came processed.
How about that? Seed sovereignty. I could go, believe me, I could do an entire show on that. I probably have actually. Seed sovereignty. These big ag businesses, they have seeds that don't reproduce. Do you think you even ought to be eating that junk? I know in a lot of cases, we don't really think about that. Decentralized distribution. Most of everything you see on that shelf came from 1,000 miles away. Folks, what if I told you that every apple in that store that you're looking at, every single apple was picked a year ago? Son, am I lying?
No. Now, some apples, like some you have to wait a year just for the sugars to develop, but that ain't those apples.
No,
That
it's
ain't
not
the
Arkansas
ones.
black. It's not an Arkansas black where you pick it and then it ripens. I mean, there are some varieties of apples that I've kept down there in the right conditions for. I mean, they don't usually make it too long around here because I love apples. But I mean, you can get the right apple and keep that thing in the right conditions for a year sometimes. I know people in Kansas that kept them even longer. But these decentralized distribution places, I mean, whether it's farm stand, co-ops, all these different things, bartering, buying clubs, I mean, there's any number of ways you can go about it. And then, of course, stacking enterprises. I mean, that's where you got your chickens, your orchards, your compost. Williams talked about it ad nauseum. So, you know, I could spend a fair amount of time. I know in a lot of farm podcasts, and people aren't necessarily talking about this stuff, but remember, this is permaculture, preparedness, and practical living, and I don't see a distinction between any of them. Honestly, all I want in my life is to live free. Freedom from control, freedom from these powers, these levers of control that want to tell me what I need to think, what I need to put in my body. If you think that didn't happen, well, didn't it just happen a couple of years ago? And then you were ostracized if you didn't play along. The health benefits of just eating local, knowing the people around you who aren't witches, community resilience. You know, I almost laugh sometimes. Now, I'm going to offend some people in Texas, but I'm just going to pick on you for a minute. Community resilience. I hear people like Mike Adams and a number of others that live in Texas. Trust me, I've lived there. And they say, well, if something jumps off, Texas is the place you want to be. Son, would you agree with that?
Absolutely not. This is especially where I live. Like I can't speak on like South Texas or like West Texas or Central Texas or anything like that, but where I live, like specifically where I live in the town I live in, people are intentionally dumb. Like if there's a slightly intelligent route to go and then there's a like a known dumb route to go, they will pick the dumb route every single time and brag about it. Like it people the common question, like if I suggest like, hey, maybe you should plant some, like instead of your traditional landscaping, maybe you should plant some like fruit trees around your house. The common like statement is like, well, who's going to pick the fruit? Or for some reason, people don't want freaking fruit trees close to their house. I don't get that. They don't want gardens close to their house. They want it way away from the house, to as if pretending like, oh, it's like everybody has this fake like putting on airs or something like that. Like, oh, I don't want to be seen as somebody who has to grow their own food or something like that. Like if you try to like suggest to people around here, like, hey, okay, for the church, for example, the church down the road, they have like 17 acres behind the church. And I'm saying, hey, I will grow food for your food bank from the property on using the property on the church grounds. And every single time I've been shot down for whatever reason, because they prefer to pay somebody to come and mow it. That's it. People are obsessed with lawns. Screw a lawn, grow some food.
Yeah. But here's the biggest point. When I was talking about that community resilience, I mean, I concur with everything William just said there. Here's the thing. Texas would be the worst place, at least in that part of Texas that I'm aware. And here's why. I kid you not. I knew people that will have a gun. They will have plenty of guns. Unbelievably expensive automobile, probably a truck. And will eat hot dogs every single night. So if things were to go down or there was some government mandate, they will be the first to fall. I'm dead serious. You got guns, you got trucks, but you got no storable food and you don't know how to grow it and don't want to grow it. Texas and other places, Oklahoma, Kansas, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of places all throughout this country. I think, honestly, if there was some national calamity, Mike Adams is all wet. I mean, there's a lot of things he says that I agree with, but he absolutely does not know what he's talking about when it comes to this. Having lived there, I can tell you it'd be the worst place in the world if there was some calamity, because nobody believes in any kind of preparedness outside of having bullets. Okay, I'll go hunting. Okay, yeah. Yeah. First of all, I always hear that from people that have never spilled blood in their lives. And then if you did kill something, where are you going to put it? What are you going to do with it? You have no idea how to gut and skin. You have no idea how to break that meat down, and you have no idea how to prepare it. And you definitely can't do it if you're these folks without the modern conveniences. So, yeah, I mean, there are places I didn't mean to go on that side of a tangent, but the community resilience in a lot of these places, folks, is not what you would think. Yeah, you got guns and trucks and absolutely no skills that actually translate into something that you could use in a scenario like that. So generational security, moral responsibility, I mean, healing the soil, the animals, and the people all at the same time, folks. I didn't mean to go on that rabbit trail, but I think it was important because a lot of people are saying, well, I moved to the Midwest, and well, you better understand that community very well, because honestly, most people, and I'm picking on Texas, but honestly, the same mindset exists in Oklahoma. I grew up there, I know, in Kansas, and in a number of other places around there. I'm telling you, you think you're going to the Midwest and you're going to escape all this stuff? Well, that same idiotic culture, and it is idiotic. It is absolutely positively idiotic. If I can't even tell you how many guys I knew had $80,000 automobiles and ate hot dogs every single day.
Yep.
Am I lying?
No, not at all. Not at all.
No, I mean,
Justin James says, I think Oklahoma is much better than Texas. I think on both ends, it kind of depends on the exact location. Like I'm talking about like a very specific spot in East Texas. Like I know some people down in like Southeast Oklahoma that got a whole blown community and stuff like that. And as soon as stuff pops off, they're already governing the area. Like the police ask them for backup or ask them to handle some situations and stuff. But
yeah,
man.
That's why it does matter. So as far as this food sovereignty or, these parallel food systems, folks, even if you don't have anybody around you, I'll just kind of leave it here. If you don't have a community that you can work with, at least have it for yourself and your family. And it comes down to more than just having canned beans and some bullets. It comes down to a little bit more of that. Maybe can you learn a little bit of wild foraging? Can you put some fruit trees out there? Like William said, if I had a nickel for all of the people in Texas, and I don't know what this sickness is called, if you bring up the notion of any kind of fruit systems, the universal answer every single time is who's going to pick the fruit. I have never, the first time I heard that, I thought, okay, that was a one-off, and it came from my sister-in-law. And then I heard it again and again and again and again and again and again and again. I was like, what is going on around this place that nobody wants any passive food production? This is insane. And they don't
the whole point.
Yeah. You want all you want to look at, I just want to see grass. Everybody, if people knew where the whole notion of a lawn even came from, they would probably, I don't even know that people are even capable of thinking anything different than what's controlled in or what's programmed into them. But honestly, folks, you got to start thinking outside the box, man. I want food growing everywhere. I want it growing in a food forest. I want it growing in an orchard. I want it growing in the pasture. I want it growing everywhere. And, when it comes down to these decentralized parallel systems, folks, we better be working on them right now, because I've told you over and over and over again, my predictions for 2025. And I'm not saying I'm Nostradamus or anything like that, but honestly, I see it unfolding and I see it happening. So you better be thinking about them right now. You better be thinking about, how do I trade with these other folks around me? How do I make some deals? How do I put some things back? Because I'm telling you, if you think the United States of Amnesia is going to just keep on rolling, well, that's exactly what they said in Rome right before the fall. And look what happened to them. So, yeah, you know the deal, folks. Anything to add, son?
Yeah, there was somebody who commented earlier about hunters that drop their game off at some processing facility and stuff like that. Y'all, if you're already hunting, just learn the skill. It ain't difficult. It's basically follow the lines for 99% of it. Unpeel it, take the middle out and follow the lines. If you're already hunting, just learn how to process it. Once you do it a couple of times, especially for some of you avid hunters, you're going to become like very, very good at it in a single season. Check your state laws and stuff like that as far as hunting. Some locations you can bag up to 3 doe a day. Like a day, you could take care of all your year's needs of meat just by hunting in the correct seasons and everything.
Well, and as much as these processors are charging these days, I don't know if you're any money ahead if you're taking it into a processor, and then not half the time, almost all the time, you're getting back somebody else's meat. So I drop my deer off, and I want to get my deer back because I know I did all the right things. I cooled that meat off as quickly as possible. Gut and dress it exactly as I should. If I drop it off, I want to make sure I get mine back. That ain't the way it works, folks. Not at these processing houses. You don't know what you're getting back. And then also when they make their processing, when they make their summer sausage and all this other stuff, folks, if you knew the junk they put in there, it would blow your mind. They got to speed up the process. So they use a lot of nitrates and nitrites. Ask me how I know. I'm a butcher. Okay. If you only knew the full extent, I mean, that's why by the time you get your deer back, man, I don't know what it would be per pound, but last time I checked, man, it wasn't wonderful. You're better off just doing it yourself. And then you got a skill. Look, I'm not asking for any money. I've done videos on it, how to do it from start to finish. I've done a deer video out there where professional butchers are reaching out to me saying, man, I've never cut up a deer like that. No, you haven't, because I was trained by Michelin star chefs. You're only going to rip out the back straps and do this and that, man. If you're going to go through all the trouble of taking that animal down and doing it responsibly, just watch some of my videos, man. I've done a video. I mean, only thing I haven't done yet, or as far as a video, is a cow, because, I need a little more. I can't just haul that around with just 2 people. Okay. So I need a little more facility to be able to make that happen. But look, just watch some of the videos that we put out there for free, and you will know how to do this thing as professionally as you could ever hope to do. And it's going to be better than anything you can hope to buy. So learn these skills. In fact, son, I'm glad you pointed that out, because most guys I know that hunt, they don't have a clue, not a single clue on how to process an animal. They might know how to gut. A lot of them don't even know how to skin. They might know how to do, let's say they can gut and skin, but they have no idea what to do with the animal after that. Just watch one of my videos, man. I made it about as paint by number as you're ever going to find. So, yeah, folks, I mean, these are not tough skills. You can learn them. You can get them. I mean, it's all the way down, up one side and down the other, folks. We have got to start getting these skills, because I don't know how much time we got. All right, y'all. I want to give a shout out, as always, to Renewed Homestead. I want to thank everybody that's coming in the chat tonight. I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us. And please understand, I don't know, maybe I need to do a video over there on my channel to let everybody know that this is where we're doing the podcast, so people stop sending me emails asking where we've been. This is where we've been, and I've not produced a video for a while because I am busy being a farmer. I want to thank everybody out there. You know the deal, y'all. Till next time, stay alert.
Stay alive.
Channel and nature, the knowledge rings with roots that run deep. Wisdom from soul and permaculture dreams. Let the ideas unfold. I'm grooving with the truth. Feeling anxious, Who's got the answers? All we need to do. Listen to the earth, they got us through. Seeds of change, watch the world spin. From the smallest sprout to harmony begin. In the cycle of life, where the magic's alive.